Okay.
So on one, so.
I don't have a chart, but I can kind of see James. Okay, so the hits are just at the beginning.
After that hand, it's just 12 bar blues. Time to start? Which one do you want to do first?
Since that's in our head, let's just do that now. Let's do that one first.
Okay.
What do we do? How does it go?
That's my Paul Revere and the Writers. You heard him.
I haven't said anything, John. What did it say?
Oh, sorry. Oh, you don't like the Andersons? Yeah. I'm sorry. I just. I'm not getting into it.
He didn't really realize it until after Easter dinner, he went home and laid down. And they didn't do anything about it until Wednesday. Following Wednesday, he went to urgent care, and they sent him right to the ER at KU, and they put him on ICU. His other organs started shutting down because his blood pressure was so low, and all the reactions to different medications. And last Saturday, his heart was screwed up. They did CPR and they couldn't bring him up. Jamie's older brother. He and my son. Great kid. Smart. He did IT work with my son's best friend, best man in his wedding. Same 10 weeks apart in age. Really? They grew up. I didn't know that. Yeah. We were all pregnant together.
Yeah. Hi, Envy.
Hi, good morning.
Just remember, all is well.
All is well. Oh, listen, I need a lot of energy today, all right? So y'all just stand up, come on, stand up. If you're able, stand up. We're gonna do a little dancing, a little moving, a little praising. Let's see what happens today. I'm not worried about tomorrow. Today I declare freedom from yesterday, mistakes in the past. Today all things are made brand new. Don't you feel good to know that all is well and unfolding as it should? I can't change my reality. I'm changing my mind. Perfect peace, joy, happiness is yours, mine. I love and it's so are you. Don't it feel good to know that all is well, golden as it should. All is well, all is well. Find the Spirit directing me right now. All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding as it should. I am clothed in the Spirit. I am fed by the divine. I am one with it. My soul is free from time. I am blessed and so are you. Don't you feel good to know that all is well, holding as it should. All is well, all is well, all is well. Don't you know that it is? All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding as it should. All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding as it should. All is well, all is well, all is well, and unfolding like it should. All is well and unfolding as it should.
All is well.
Lord Jesus,
Let's keep
all
going.
is well. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I'm supposed to be. I'm in the right place at the right time.
right, see you next week. I'm done. There's more music.
There's so much more music. So much more.
The breath of God is breathing me and blessing in the breath of God. I know that all is well. The breath of God is breathing me and blessing in the breath of God. I know that all is well. The grace of God is gracing me and blessing in the grace of God. I know that all is well. The grace of God is gracing me and blessing in the grace of God. I know that all is well. The love of God is loving me and resting in the love of God. I know that all is well. The love of God is loving me and resting in the love of God. I know that all is well. The breath of God is breathing me and resting in the breath of God. I know that all is well. The breath of God is breathing me and resting in the breath of God. I know that all is well.
Good morning, Unity Church of Overland Park.
Good morning. I'm back.
She's back! I didn't think I was gonna survive.
Oh, you did just
It was
fine. You did just
hard.
fine.
It was lonely.
Oh, I saw the drama last
was
week. I tuned
sad.
in. I saw how sad you were. But you know what made me sad?
What?
There was one thing you said. I got all the love. I felt all the love coming my way. But then you said something that just made me sad. You said that when I'm not here, it takes some of your sparkle away.
Yeah.
I cannot be responsible for you losing any of your sparkle.
Then stay.
No, I am not giving up my vacation time, but I have a solution.
Oh no.
Next time I'm gone, this is Eileen Sparkle in a bottle. So you can just sprinkle some up in the air
I will
while you're
do
doing
it.
my
I will
work
do
as
it.
well as your own, and it'll be just
Okay.
like I'm right there watching you doing my work as well as your own.
You see how she assures that I approve the next vacation request?
Oh yes, in advance. I'm
I
working
love
in
it.
advance.
I love it. I feel seen.
You were seen, you were heard, you were felt.
And you were loved big
Oh,
time.
man,
I mean,
was I
by
ever.
us in your absence, but by your grandbabies
Oh, I'm
and your
telling you,
sons, your
I took it
family.
all in and brought it
Yes.
back. Yeah.
So glad to have you back.
It's good to be here.
So thank you all for joining us. Those of you in the room, those of you who are online now or in the future, come into this bubble of love.
I like that.
Why don't you do the honors of opening prayer?
I think I will, because you know, this thing that we do, we just say, it's the thing we do in
Thing
this
we do.
ministerial partnership, right? And there's a lot of laughs.
Yes.
There's a lot of laughs, and in this thing that we do, sometimes the laughter just has to subside for a time, and that's okay too. And I know that this past week or so, you have been walking through the days with a bit of a tender heart. And she'll speak more to that in just a moment or two. So we're going to flip roles a little bit here, and I'll start us with an opening prayer. And so maybe we just stay in that energy of love as well as the energy of that last song, the breath of God. So let's just take that intentional breath in and realize that it is that power and presence of God breathing in through and as us. That presence of God within each of us, within all people everywhere. And our journey, the pilgrimage theme in our series today is about the God self. And so I went online and just typed those words in, and I came upon one reading that described the God self as those moments where we are most present to the moment at hand, where our consciousness is raised to the level of heightened compassion, being awake and alert, and deeply aware of what being alive truly means. And so on this day, as we breathe in and out this gift of breath, the breath of God, it means that God is not done with us yet, that Spirit has more to say, more to express through us. As we accept that gift, we say yes to the invitation to be the highest version that we can possibly be, just in the moment as we are, of that presence of God, living, breathing, expressing in, through, and as us. And we do that as we stand on foundational truths, spiritual truths. One, I invite you to affirm with me aloud: there is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the source of all good.
So now we'll continue in this prayerful way, and thank you for honoring me. And I would like to share with you that a dear one to me made her transition into Spirit this week. Her name was Donna Warner, and she served as the office manager at Unity Spiritual Center in Springfield, where I had the privilege and honor of serving as minister for 2 years, fresh out of ministerial school. And Donna was there for decades. And do you know anyone who's been in a church for decades? They become the heartbeat of the church and the soul of the church. And I know some of our Unity Spiritual Center friends are tuning in today, so I just bring you into this bubble of love that we create each and every week together. I know our prayer chaplains have been holding me in prayer, as well as the family of Donna and the community there in Springfield. So I've asked that we will sing a song together, Weave, which is a traditional Unity song that I know many of you love, and it was one of Donna's favorites. She was my Mama Bear. So as we continue in this prayerful way, I would like to invite us all in to create a loving space and presence for all who are grieving, particularly for Lincoln, Austin, Taylor, for Donna's children and grandchildren, for our beloved Unity folks there at Unity Spiritual Center in Springfield, for all who have been given the gift to know and love and to be loved by our dear Donna. And we expand this presence and safety of love to all who are grieving any kind of loss, and to include all who are celebrating and experiencing joy. We know that Donna's spirit has been released into the full radiance of love, and that is the hope that we each carry in our hearts, that we each will experience one day. And so we bring that liberation, that illumination, that powerful, pure love into our awareness right here, right now, because there is only one. Life always has the last word. So whatever each of us are holding as a prayer request, we allow it to bask in the presence of love right here, right now. And I would ask, if you are willing and able, that you stand as we sing this unity song. It's a beautiful affirmation of how we are all woven together in unity and love. Amen. Love you, Donna.
Weave us together. Weave us together in unity and love. Weave Tiffany.
Good morning.
We got some learning
Good
to
morning,
do,
everybody.
right?
We've got what to do?
Some learning to do.
Yes, we do. I think I already learned it. Jackie, did you say life always has the last word? That is good. I mean, I could preach it. There's a series there. Anyway, we have with us our wonderful music director, Reverend Fred Albers. Let's give it up. And James Albright. And who knew? In for Terry Swope is Rick Backus. You are good. Who knew you did that? I did not know that. And
Brian Severs?
yes, I know. I was trying to think of a. Anyway, he's so good and he's so cute, and I just love it when he's here. You can say all kinds of things when you get as old as me.
I know. Or give you a microphone.
All right. And mostly we want to recognize our Reverends Jackie Fernandez and Eileen Stulak. And today's, Jackie's message today is pilgrimage, the journey to God's self. And life always has the last word. Gosh.
I know.
You know.
Sometimes you do. You feel like you've got church before church even starts. With the music. I know. And the prayer. Thank you. Okay. You want me to go on with my little things? Okay.
You can.
All right.
Before I started.
All right, here we go. All right, so I would like to announce this, that registration is now open for the Celebrate Your Your Divine Identity Retreat. Let me say that again. Registration is now open for the Celebrate Your Divine Identity Retreat at Unity Village. This is an LGBTQ plus pride retreat that is being hosted by our very own Folks with Faith group. This event is taking place June 29th through July 1st. It will include inspiring music, interactive keynote speakers, wisdom workshops, sacred ceremony, transformational art, and meditation experiences, and of course, a drag show. So, I mean, you can go for a lot of reasons, but that would be a really fun part of it. Early registration with a discounted rate ends on May 15th. You can register online at folkswithfaith.org or by using the link provided in our e-news.
Next, everyone is encouraged to join together on May 2nd. That's a Tuesday evening for the Nehemiah Action event of the Good Faith Network. The event will be at the Church of the Resurrection in Leawood and begins at 6 p.m. This event is where the research and proposed solutions for the current initiatives of, number 1, mental health crisis care, 2, ending homelessness, and 3, lack of affordable housing will be presented to local leaders and decision makers. That means, among other things, politicians. So we want, just by being there, you're gonna give a message to those decision makers. So as my notes say, we want to fill the place to capacity. There are a few folders and informational booklets on the table in the back if you have not already received one and would like to learn more.
Okay, and then we're also excited to welcome back Manaz Shabir as our guest speaker on Sunday, May 7th. You might recall that she participated in Reverend Jackie's Conscious Conversation series in early 2022, and she will be joining us again, this time right off of a time of her own pilgrimage, which is perfect for this current series. Among many roles and achievements, Manaz is a member of the Overland Park Citizens Advisory Council, Racial Profiling, and Non-Biased Policing Board. I did not know there was such a thing, so that in and of itself is impressive, but she's part of that group. And she also serves as an advisory board member for for the current Kansas City Interfaith Council and Crescent Peace Society. So mark your calendar for Sunday, May 7th, when she'll be our guest speaker.
And Amanda, I'm sorry, I forgot to introduce our new ASL interpreter, Amanda Hubbard. It's amazing they let me up here with a microphone.
We love you. We love you, Barb.
All right. On Friday, May 5th, the Leadership Council and staff will meet at our Gerber Storage in Bonner Springs to go through our storage items and discern what is to be sold, donated, released, or stored. We have several volunteers from the congregation who will support this process. If you would like to join in the fun, please contact Angela Herman.
And now, will everybody work with me to speak the joint vision statement of the Unity Movement together? A world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening.
Thank you, Barb and Tiffany.
Where I breathe.
And there went the sermon. Oh, man. God is. That song, I tell you, that song by Faith Rivera, put it on your playlist. That song will carry you through a rough day, a difficult day, the darkest night. It is a beautiful reminder, and it's such a simple reminder that everything about you is an expression of God. Every activity in you is an expression of God. Where you work, where you play, your words, your breath, everything is an expression of God. The journey to God's self. Whew. Is there a trek that is any further than that? I mean, I can't prove this, but I think we all come into the world actually right there, at home base, at center, knowing that we are divine in our essence. And at that point in our human development, we don't have any ego. This is pre-ego. So I think that there is something that happens in us as the ego develops and we become differentiated from our caretaker. We begin to understand ourselves as an individual. We get sort of preoccupied with that idea that I am me and you are you, and everyone else is everyone else. And we lose the focus that I am me, I am you, we are we. And so much of our spiritual journey and our work and our practice is really designed to bring us into that awareness, to awaken us to that knowing once again, and to live from this sense of wherever I am, God is. But to know that it's not because I'm here and God also happens to be here. Because we are at church and God, of course, is at church. But God is here because you are here. That the ground that you stand on is holy because you are standing on it. And then it's just a hop, skip, and a jump to knowing that that is also true for every single other person on the planet. So there's this idea that if we are to learn to love ourselves truly, that we must do that before we can learn to truly love another. I don't know how much I buy into that idea. I think that sometimes it's easier to love other people than it is to love ourselves because we know everything about us. And so it becomes a challenge of our grace, our compassion, our acceptance of our own humanity. And sometimes it's easier to accept the humanity and divinity in another than ourselves. So I don't know that that's exactly the order of things. I think it can happen that way. I think that we learn to love someone else really well, and then we're like, oh, right, and I get to be part of that, and we learn to love ourselves equally as well. Then I think we actually expand, and then we actually become able to love each other even more. So it's maybe cyclical, but I don't know that one has to come before the other. And I think that the journey to God's self is similar. I don't know that in order for me to know the divine in you, in order for me to know your sacred essence, I first have to know mine. I think sometimes maybe it's easier to get to mine by seeing it so clearly and easily in you, or in a baby, or in someone who has been an angel in my life. Maybe it's easier to see that first and to identify that first, and then get to the understanding, the awareness, the knowing that if that's true for you and you and you and you and you and everyone else, then it's actually pretty egoic to think it's not true for me. So you see, the ego is not always about grandiosity. The ego can also be about diminishing our own presence for the sake of survival, for the sake of avoiding being hurt or judged. So if we can look around and see divinity in any single other person, then it must be true for our own being. So the journey to God's self can perhaps be that quick, that you gaze into the perfect face of a newborn baby and you see, pure love, pure God, pure holiness. And then remember, you too were once that little baby. And that the only difference between you now and the perfect, precious face of that little baby is time. And time, we've already talked about this, is an illusion. We're just making that up. There is no difference. God, self. Our unity movement is quite focused on this concept of God's self, that we aren't lowercase selves. We aren't just people, that we are capital S self. We are divine in our essence. That is the idea of unity. We are in unity with divine mind, which means we are in unity with all expressions of that mind. And the reason we have this focus is because that too was the focus of Jesus' ministry. That too was the focus of every enlightened being who ever dared teach another. I'm going to bring my book again, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and Lao Tzu. So because we're not reading scripture, I say we, because I'm not reading scripture this year. Ask me if you have questions about that. It's not as painful as it was in January and February and March. I mean, we're in April now. Not as thirsty about it. So the Gospel of Mani, which is a Gnostic gospel. A person who only sees his external self rather than the self, capital S, within, not only diminishes himself, but misleads others as well. Oh, that's juicy. A person who only sees his external self, lowercase s, rather than the self, capital S, within, so that means divine, your divine self, not only diminishes himself, but misleads others as well. Well, there's a turn. That it's not just about we're missing out on our own divinity, that we're misleading others if we don't acknowledge that presence in ourselves. We're misleading others. And I think that tends to show up as diminishing ourselves in relationship. If you want to do any spiritual work in the deepest, most direct way possible, do it in relationship with anyone, any kind of relationship, right? Because we get to tangle then with our ego, with our humanity, with our ideas of separation of what I want, what you want, what's best for you, what you think is best for you, what I think is best for me, what you think is best for me, and on and on. And it doesn't matter if that's a parent, child, a sibling, a romantic relationship. We have lots of ideas that trickle into judgments about each other, right? From Krishna. So this would be the Bhagavad Gita. The purpose of things in your life is not for you to love them, but to love the self, capital S, in all things. So the purpose of things in your life is not just for you to love them, but to love the self in all things. So get behind just the surface experience of another person to the self, the capital S self that is in the other, that is also in you. Buddha. Recognizing the unity of all life, one sees his own capital S self in all other beings. This allows one to be impartial about all things. Recognizing the unity of all life, I see it. One sees his own self in all other beings. This allows one to be impartial about all things. How's that working? How impartial do you feel about all things? Well, maybe I'll go back to work. So thank you, Myrtle Fillmore, one of Unity's co-founders, the mother of unity, because she reminds us that our spiritual study, if it's not bringing forward a manifestation of the things that we think it ought to because of the nature of the spiritual study itself, don't worry about it. She says, your spiritual awakening is the important thing, and that is what will get you to the knowing of your oneness with divine mind. So, if you aren't feeling exactly impartial about all things right now, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Your awakening is the important thing. So maybe just hearing these words is waking you up a little bit to that idea, a place and opportunity for you to check yourself. That if I truly believe in oneness and in God's self in me and in another, then I will be impartial. And what does that mean? We're going to leave that over here. Lao Tzu, the Tao Te Ching, strip away the non-essential, and the essential will reveal itself. Strip away the non-essential, and the essential will reveal itself. Okay. Easy peasy, right? I mean, this feels like basics, right? You probably, those of you who have been in Unity for a long time, you've been studying this. I am one, right? With the one power. We affirm it every week. There is one power, one presence in my life and in the universe, God, the source of all good. And that power is us, is manifesting itself, is expressing itself in us. I've used the expression and the idea, the metaphor of the wave being projected from the ocean, never separate from the ocean, individuated in that we can describe the wave uniquely. Subject to space and time is the wave, but never separate from the ocean. This is us. Never separate from the one divine mind, yet unique and unrepeatable. Unique and unrepeatable. Where I stand, God is, and you do not stand like me, nor I like you. Where I sing, believe me, I don't sing like you. In the shower, it sounds close. Just don't listen. And thank God you don't sing like me. Journey to God's self. How long do we make that journey? How far do we cause ourselves to travel? To know the truth that is already here in us as us. Can we know that truth in another? Can we know the God self in one another? And can we be truly honest with ourselves when that feels super challenging? So that the ground that you stand on is holy simply because you are standing there. There's not a sign or a sprinkling of water or a prayer or anything. That's just ritual. That's perhaps even superstition. We can make all kinds of things. None of that is required. Simply by your presence, because you are the divine animating and expressing itself purely and beautifully in each and every moment. And the further we run from that truth, it's not about diminishing ourselves in a way that I am unworthy to be the presence of God. It's not humility to say, I can't possibly be the grandness and holiness that is God. It is not ego to say, sometimes we get criticized in New Thought as they all think they're gods. That's only a problem if it is a fabrication of the ego, that you are the only God, and that you are the ruler having dominion over others. And there are collections of people, there are societies and cultures and aspects, and I don't mean one, I mean pieces of culture, pieces of society, aspects of it when people come together, that those energies do come into play, the misuse of power and dominion over others. But true divine power, the true divine knowing of self as divine, the knowing of our own sanctity, is what results in humility. So when we think of the master teachers, Jesus, Buddha, Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., Dolores Huerta, when we think of these people, we observe humility. And some of them are very tiny in stature and so grand in their impact in the world. And it's not by force of ego. It is the humility that comes in knowing their divinity. So when we know our true divinity and we were in the awareness of it and in the experience of it and in the trusting and faith of it, the result is divine humility. And our work can be to not take that into relationship as self-diminishing. We do the world no good. We do our relationships no good by diminishing ourselves, by taking ourselves as a unique and unrepeatable expression of the one true holy presence in the world out of the equation. We do no good. We are here to be the expression. We are here because the one divine presence in the universe chose to express itself as you. So you are doing no favors by diminishing yourself in that expression. We do no good for our own psyche, for our own heart, for our own mind and body to step away from that light, to hide our light. And so see, we soon, in the development of our egos, we also develop filters, right? That diminish the light. Either our own knowing of it, we might project onto ourselves other people's ideas of that maybe we're too much or not enough. And we might take those filters and the light dims. We might internalize these ideas and create our own filters and the light dims. But the light is always there. So in our spiritual practice, we begin to release those filters. They are not serving us. They are not serving our relationships. They are not serving our neighborhoods and our communities. And I can give you an example. That if you answer your door, and instead of noticing the holy ground that is being stood upon by the person who is knocking at your door, instead you presume first that you are threatened, and without asking any questions, you know where I'm going with this? You shoot, not once but twice. The journey to God's self has not been taken. We might be able to draw the assumption and even paint a picture that that person must think that they are God. That person must think so much of themselves that they are more important than the life on the other side of the door. I don't think that's the case. I think it's the opposite of that. I think it's fear. I think it's so many filters built up over time that the person cannot see their own light within. And I think that that's happening time and time again. When we talk about the mental health crisis that our nation is in, more so, I mean, yes, it's true, the rest of the world also suffers from mental health crises and issues, but this nation in particular does so astronomically. Those, from a spiritual perspective, are filters that have been set up and built in and really integrated into the psyche of individuals and groups that they cannot see the light. And what I don't want you to hear is that you can pray your way out of a mental health experience. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that collectively, it is our work to do. Collectively, it is not just about praying. It is about walking. It is about seeing and recognizing. Because if we can look upon another and see the face of God, if we can look upon another and see that they are standing on holy ground, made so by the simple fact that they are standing there, then the Spirit in us will guide us into love. and into loving acts and into loving connection. And when we can connect with each other, then we can provide the support that each and everyone needs, because what you need is also what I need. There is no need that you have that I do not, and that she does not, and that he does not. We are connected. We are one. It is one presence. So the problems that we see in the world are not in the world. They are right here. The journey to God's self is a really good place to start, to allowing those problems to not only be solved, but to be transformed and transmuted into experiences of love and light. And this is the work that we get to do. So we take away every non-essential thing, and we are left with what is essential, not only in our own beings, but in those of every other one around us. So let this be the work that we do, what we make ourselves available to and for. And it is work. It is work to keep remembering to let go. Because our habits and our ego patterns will pick themselves right back up as soon as we are not paying attention. Because they are there for our own survival in the ego mind. So we bring our God mind to the table. And we allow those patterns to cease, to release, to let go, to dissolve, to dissipate, because they are no longer needed in the experience of love and light. They are no longer needed when you can look in the mirror and see the face of God. They are no longer needed when you can look into the face of another and see the face of God. And keep looking until that feels really challenging, because therein lives the opportunity for you to look at your deepest, darkest secrets and bring them to light. When you can do it for yourself, you can do it for another. When you can do it for another, you can do it for yourself. Our journeys are the same. They are interwoven. They are interlinked. We are one. Blessings.
Yes, we are love. We do stand on holy ground. And each one of us is the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of love. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of God.
your attention inward. I invite you to gently close your outer eyes or soften your gaze and open the inner eye, fixed ever presently on the vast expanse of the universe, living, moving, having its very being in you as you. You are the face of God. You are the activity of God. You are the beloved of God. You are the desire of God's heart. There is nothing about you that changes that truth. So let us release and relieve the habituation of measuring one another by any other factor, by any other idea or thought. In this sacred space, we presence the perfect right for our brother, our brother, Ralph Jarl. The perfect right for him to knock on any door in his neighborhood and to be met with safety, with respect, with love, and release the tendency to justify this idea and thought by saying, well, he is a good student. This is true. He was a leader in his band. He is a leader in his band. This is also true. And we don't earn our perfect right to safety through our achievements and accomplishments. So even if it were the case that he were a terrible student, he is the beloved child of God. So we allow this experience that happened not very far away in our city to be an opportunity to release some of our own filters. The ways that we diminish our own light and the ways that we diminish others. An opportunity to get really honest about how we let fear direct our actions, our words. Not every experience is that of outright physical violence. Sometimes it is an experience of emotional violence. Perpetrated by ourselves, against ourselves, or others, or by others. We bring all of the messiness of our human condition into this meditative space, because this is the space where we allow God to heal God's self and the knowing of God's self to be a healing balm for everything that outpictures in our lives, personally, in our communities, and collectively. We take solo journeys in many ways, but it is all one journey in this human experience. So we allow more God, more love, more light onto our path. I'd like to share these words by Mark Nepo about playing small. In Dante's Divine Comedy, the only difference between the lovers who find themselves enduring hell and the lovers working their way through paradise is that those in hell have no individual center, and so they spin in endless identification with each other. Hard as it is, we cannot shrink from our relationships where we simply become an audience or gopher for the dominant partner or friend. Like most of us, I have struggled with this my whole life, fearful of what might happen if I actually voice my concerns and needs. Surprised that doing so, while not always easy or pleasant, always enables me to be myself more fully. Then, not by chance, I'm always more able to feel and see the world around me. I bring more to the scene and am revitalized more readily by my daily experience. The great philosopher Martin Buber, who believed that God is most deeply known through relationships, spoke to the heart of this paradox. He said that before there can be a true relationship, there must be two separate beings who can relate. Most of our life experience bears this out. Unless we work to be ourselves, we can never truly know others or the numinous world we live in. So we allow these ideas of individuation, of what is unique about us, to be held in the same knowing of our oneness. It is an invitation to be intimately connected to what makes us unique. What makes each and every one of us uniquely the desire of God to express in this particular way. That it is our holy and sacred opportunity, dare I say obligation, to embrace that about us that is unique. To do the work, to honor that is what makes us sacred. And then to bring that into community, to bring that into relationship, to bring that into the collective voice that shapes who we are as humanity. The journey to God's self is not one we make alone, but we must participate as individuals. The world needs you. The world needs the flavor of the divine that is expressing as you. You are the face of God. Thank you. Thank you, God, for this truth. Thank you, God, for this life, for this knowing.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of
God. You are the face of God.
face of God.
I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me.
Reverend Jackie shared during her lesson how our relationships can be used to speak, act, be from that highest aspect of our capital S selves. And I heard a story before the service began about how a group of people came together yesterday from their highest self as it applies to their relationship with this beautiful planet Earth upon which we live. They came together to participate in the stream clean that was sponsored by Overland Park and Tiffany Crabtree. Thank you again for putting that together for us. And what Tiffany shared with me was that it was a small group. It was a small group. And as the day unfolded, they picked up a lot of stuff. Some of it was small, some of it was as big as bicycles and more. And the small group started to have conversation that she said that as the day wore on, they started to have this underlying theme in their words that how a small group can come together to do some mighty things. And as the day went on a little bit further, they picked up another piece of paper. And it was so small I can hold it in my hand because she brought it to me this morning and asked if I would do something with it at this part of the service, because what they found as they were cleaning up trash was a $100 bill. And it's actually one of the cleanest pieces of currency I've ever seen. So I'm not sure where you found it, but it's sparkling. And this group said that we all have a connection in some way to Unity Church of Overland Park, so take it to church. Have them bless it and put it in the offering. And so we receive this with reverence and appreciation, and knowing that as it joins together with all of the gifts that you and so many others offer to this ministry as well, it will definitely go forth to do some mighty work as a part of the mission of this ministry. And so whether you are holding a tangible gift in your hand in this moment, if you're giving online, let's all just place our gifts into our hearts for a moment as we bless them all with the words to our offertory prayer. Please join with me. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am joy-filled and grateful.
I am aware.
and the UCOP band. Always a joy to have you, and she'll be back on May 7th for the last time for a year. And then we'll get you back. It's okay. It's okay. I'm feeling a lot of abandonment issues. It's okay. It's okay. She'll be back. She'll be back. She'll be back. All right, it is time to thank our volunteer group for the month, which is our small group facilitators. So if you facilitate a small group or ministry team, I'd love for you to stand so that we can show you our love and appreciation. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the many ways you bless this community. Our small groups and our ministry teams are where so much of our spiritual growth happens and our true deeper connections of friendship with each other. So thank you for the ways you serve this community. All right, we've got a few things coming up. You're going to want to mark your calendars. Express Yourself group for creative expression will meet on Wednesday, on the first Wednesday, so I think that's May 3rd at 4 o'clock, and it's the last time they're going to meet for the summer. They will be taking a hiatus, so this is your chance. Get in there, and then you'll have to wait till the fall. Also, the men's group will be doing their first Saturday breakfast on May 6th at Lenexa Public Market, and then they walk over to the Lenexa Library and have a presentation and conversation there as well. Alrighty, so hospitality, we need some volunteers. We've had some changes in schedules and opportunities are available for you to participate. That doesn't mean you have to bring food. Awesome if you want to, but it may be that you just come early enough to get the coffee set up and to get things set up. So see Lona, or also you could sign up on the sign-up sheets in the cafe if you are feeling a little tug at your heart to help with that. Okay, let's speak our mission statement. Releasing all of the light into the world. Unity Church of Overland Park transforms lives and empowers people to make a difference in the world. And we do, we really do that. Okay, next week, the Journey to Hope. We continue this pilgrimage series and we get Danny Cox back after his kidney transplant. So let's welcome in our kids.
Classroom, and it was a little fluctuating, a little crazy, but nothing we couldn't handle. We had a couple other kids that were with us earlier and left for whatever reason, but everyone got to participate and everyone was getting along. So what we did today is we got out the paint and we did a story time painting where all the kids were only in charge of 2 colors, and we'd pass around the paper in a circle and everyone would add a piece onto this painting right here, bit by bit. So it started with Asa, and she painted the green grass right at the bottom. And you can't see it anymore because then it went to canvas and he lit the grass on fire. And then it was my turn, and I made a plane, but I only had black. And so I was hoping the next person would add water to the plane to put out the fire, which did happen, as you can see here. But then it went to Jude, who's out in the audience today, and he made another plane coming in who was putting down more fire. So it became this very big battle. Alma added this beautiful sunset and flowers that also got burned up. And so this is our wonderful painting now, and we think it just ended in a tie. So that is what we did today. And it was all about teamwork and collaboration and just having a good time together and making a funny story. So you guys can go ahead and stand and join us for the closing song.
Oh,
prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Have a beautiful week, beloveds.